I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. You're about to hear Rules of Comedy, written by Emmy winner Patricia Cotter and directed by Jonathan Bernstein. It's about a very serious young woman named Caroline, played by Louisa Krause, who enrolls in a comedy workshop taught by a somewhat jaded stand-up comedian, played by Michael Esper. Jonathan, Louisa, and Michael are all returning to Playing on Air. They've joined us before in Winter Games, Anniversary, and At the River's Edge Wet, which Jonathan both wrote and directed. You can download those shorts from our podcast archive or check them out online at our website, playingonair.org. We'll chat with Patricia, Jonathan, and the cast right after they record. But first, Rules of Comedy. We are in Guy's studio apartment in the middle of a lesson in stand-up comedy. His student, Caroline, stands holding a microphone. She's mid-routine, performing for a pretend audience as Guy watches. She is not a natural comedian at all.
Okay, show of hands. How many of you out there thought your elementary school bus driver was really cool until you found out that she was a fugitive from justice? Come on. I know I'm not the only one.
What do I do if they don't respond?
Yeah, they're not going to respond.
Why not?
Because basically no one has ever thought that their elementary school bus driver was a fugitive from justice.
Mine was money laundering.
That's interesting and sort of upsetting, but not funny. Look, why don't you focus on something a little more, universal? Something everybody can relate to, like, say, dating.
Dating. Okay, I can do that.
How about dating? We all do it, right? Or some of us don't. I don't date much. Maybe it's because I'm an atheist. Guys don't like atheists, because during sex, when other girls yell out stuff like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," atheists tend to yell out stuff like, "Oh, my no one. Oh, my Ayn Rand. Oh, my fictional representative of an antiquated belief system." And that just takes too long. Am I right, ladies? Can I get a witness? Holla!
Stop. I like where you're going with that, I think. Talking about sex is great because, you're a girl and everybody loves it when girls talk about sex on stage. Some girls. But I don't know if you're that kind of girl.
Probably I'm not.
Yeah, no. So, come on, tell me a joke, like a joke with a punchline.
Okay.
Wow, I'm blanking. This is really hard. This is surprisingly hard. Do limericks count?
Let's back up a little bit. Just put down the mic. It's not helping.
I don't want to break it. I'm assuming you value it.
Whatever. It doesn't work anyway. Listen up. There are 4 basic elements to comedy. Right? Every single joke has these elements. Every joke. You may think they don't, but trust me, they do. It's just a comedy truth. Okay?
I have no reason not to believe you.
It has been true since the dawn of comedy, since the Greeks stood on Mount Olympus or wherever the Greeks stood, and Aristotle taught Plato the art of telling the perfect joke.
Aristotle was a student of Plato's, so I don't think that actually happened.
Facts don't matter in comedy.
I'm a big believer in facts.
The 4 elements are the setup, the story, the twist, and the punchline. You're not going to write any of this down?
That seems misleadingly simple.
It's not. I had to learn this stuff the hard way. Years of bombing in front of an audience before I came up with this foolproof method. The workshop is only 2 hours long, so you're going to need to focus.
My pen is poised now. Now it is poised.
The setup, the story, the twist, and the punchline. So, what are they?
Setup, story, punchline.
And the twist, you forgot that.
I just assumed that the twist would come under the umbrella of the story portion of the program.
It doesn't come under the umbrella of anything. It's its own separate element.
All right. I mean, I disagree, but all right. Can I ask you a question?
No.
Why are rabbis always walking into bars?
What?
Are rabbis known for their struggle with alcohol?
I don't think so.
Haven't you noticed that many, many jokes are launched by that premise? A rabbi walks into a bar, or a Jew walks into a bar, It's never a Seventh-day Adventist walks into a bar.
Seventh-day Adventists don't drink.
Exactly. So if they did, then indeed walk into a bar, wouldn't that be funny?
How about you forget about rabbis specifically and religion in general for a second because you have just accidentally stumbled upon the classic setup. Typically, you would list 3 people or 3 things that have nothing in common and then find a way to get them all in one room, say a bar or a rowboat or a proctologist's office. 3 incongruent things all in one space. Write this down. 3 is a classic comedy numeral.
Or maybe the world of stand-up comedy is anti-Semitic.
There are tons of Jewish comedians. I'm a half Jewish comedian.
That seems like it could be funny. A half-Jewish comedian walks into someplace. A Red Lobster. The DMV.
Oh, yes! A Red Lobster restaurant might be funny because it's named for a shellfish.
How did you hear about my workshop again?
I saw a flyer. I even bought a book as research.
A book?
It's called 101 Dirty Jokes. I got it on sale. Do you want to hear one?
Not really.
A dog, a cat, and a penis are sitting around a campfire. Huh. Let me find a better one.
Okay, Caroline, don't take this the wrong way, but, you don't seem particularly, funny.
I know. That's why I'm here.
The thing is, though, I can't teach you to be funny.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't. Nobody can. That's not what this class is about.
That's what you advertised. You said on the flyer that I would be funny after one hilarious session or my money back.
I said you would find out how to be funny after one, hilarious session.
So far, I have not laughed once since I got in here. There has been no hilarity. Nothing hilarious has occurred.
Could we please just stop using the word hilarious? Look, if you want your money back...
No.
How about a beer? Do you want a beer? Because I think a beer might help. Or maybe a field trip. I could take you to an open mic. I mean, who knows? If you're lucky, I might even get up there myself.
I've seen your act.
What? You did? When?
Friday night, right after I signed up for the class. I found you online, saw you had a show, so I went.
Great.
Uh-huh.
So...
Yep. I saw you. Up on the stage, right up there on that tiny stage. I liked your shirt.
I was a pretty tough crowd that night. The snow and trains were messed. It's just too bad you didn't come on Thursday.
They definitely weren't laughing very much.
Like I said, they were a tough crowd. Thursday night was so much better.
Did you tell different jokes?
No, I told the same jokes, but you can't compare.
3 people left. They just got up and walked out in the middle of your act.
I know, I was there. What can I say? It happens.
You talked a lot about your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, it's kind of the focus of my act right now.
You seemed mad at her.
What? No. I'm over it. That's just what comedians do. We tell jokes to strangers, typically drunk strangers, about our lives. My job is to make a room full of drunk people laugh their faces off at the crappy things that happen to me.
I don't like drunk people. They make me nervous. My aunt is an alcoholic and a dental hygienist.
See, now that's a great example of a setup. An alcoholic dental hygienist starts to clean this guy's teeth.
She's too sad to be funny. What other types of jokes are there?
There are like a million types. Lawyer jokes, yo mama jokes, dumb blonde jokes. Hey, what did the blonde say to the doctor when she found out she was pregnant? Are you sure it's mine?
That joke didn't have a twist.
Okay, I probably should have canceled, but, to be honest, I really needed the $150. But look, I understand if this isn't your thing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you $100 back right now, and we can call it a night.
No.
Well, basically, I just gave you a one-on-one tutorial. I mean, that seems fair to me.
I don't want my money back.
I'm just going to be brutally honest, Caroline. You're not funny at all. You actually would be a nightmare to even have in the audience. You can't question or worry about why a rabbi would walk into a bar or why a cowboy would have a parrot on his shoulder. You just have to go with it.
Maybe if you could give me an example of the perfect setup, story, twist, parenthetical, and punchline, I'd get it.
All right, I don't know about perfect, but if I give you a good example, you'll leave?
You give me one really good example, and I'm out of here.
All right. Just so you know, this isn't one of my jokes. I do more like stories from my life. Well, you heard. Well, whatever. But this is a classic, well-built joke. This is basically the Toyota Camry of jokes.
Got it.
A couple of New Jersey hunters are out in the woods when one of them just all of a sudden collapses and falls to the ground. And his friend checks him out, and the guy doesn't seem to be breathing. His eyes are rolled back in his head. It looks pretty bad. So the hunter, completely freaked out, whips out his cell and he calls 911. He gets the operator. and he says, hey, help me. I think my friend is dead. What can I do? And the operator says, just take it easy, sir. I can help. The first thing we need to do is to make sure that your friend is actually dead. So the guy pulls out his rifle and shoots his friend. And then he comes back on the line and says to the operator, okay, he's definitely dead. Now what? Oh, no. No. Oh, God, sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, are you okay?
That was funny.
No, it wasn't. It's pretty stupid, actually, but it follows the formula. That's all. I don't even like that joke.
We know the hunter is dumb because he's from New Jersey, correct?
Correct. New Jersey is kind of the go-to dumb guy state.
I don't want to be a stand-up comedian.
Then why are you here?
I lost my sense of humor.
I don't think that's even possible.
People lose their sense of smell or their sense of taste. Some people have no common sense. Why isn't it possible that I lost my sense of humor? I can't access joy in any form. That's why I'm here in your semi-creepy studio apartment. I knew it wouldn't work. I just thought I'd try.
I'm sorry this didn't produce more hilarity.
My mother died.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How did she die?
I killed her.
What?
That was a joke?
That's not funny.
I know. I don't know why I said that. It just came out. She died 2 months ago. And now it's just me.
Just?
Yes. And I haven't laughed since. Not once. I can't even feel the potential for laughing. I don't have it anymore. I'm just empty.
You'll get it back.
I won't.
You will. People get things back.
How?
I mean, I think the only thing I know is that you just have to keep going. You know, like when I'm bombing, when I am just 100% full on bombing, I know that if I just keep going, somewhere down the line, they will laugh again. It's a mathematical impossibility that they won't. And just when I think they won't, they do. So that's what you have to do, I think. Just keep going.
Keep going.
That's all I got. I'm just a mediocre comedian.
You're not mediocre. It's just that your ex-girlfriend jokes aren't funny. You should stop telling them.
That's half my act.
It doesn't matter. They're mean. That's why people left.
She broke my heart.
I know. It's hard, but maybe just start over with some new material. You can have my a dog, a cat, and a penis sitting around a campfire joke if you want it.
That all seems sort of stupid, telling jokes when, there's real life.
No, not stupid. I think real life is why jokes exist, even when they don't always work. Anyway. Bye. Thank you.
So, what if an orphan and a half-Jewish comedian walked into a bar?
What's the punchline?
No punchline. It's an invitation for a drink with me.
An invitation? And kind of a twist.
Kind of.
The twists are important.
Yes, the twists are very important.
It would be bad to leave them out.
You just heard Rules of Comedy, written by Patricia Cotter, directed by Jonathan Bernstein. Performances by Louisa Krause as Caroline and Michael Esper as Guy. Hi, everyone. Jonathan Bernstein, director. What most attracted you to Rules of Comedy?
The efficiency of the writing, the inspiration of the writing, Patricia's wit and soulfulness. What's not to like?
Touché. Patricia, do you think you just popped out funny? Or did you learn a thing or two? You started with the Groundlings, which is a famed comic improvisational group. Mm-hmm. What did you learn about comedy there?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, my family's funny, which I think most people who end up kind of being funny at all or sense of humor, have a funny family. I think at the Groundlings I learned efficiency and what else. Like if it's not working, what else? Where you're not going to the first thing, kind of break it down till it's like, what's the sort of least expected thing? That's what I think.
In your play, Rules of Comedy, you tell a lot of, quote, comic truths. The 4 elements of every joke, that 3 is a classic comedic numeral, you can't teach someone to be funny, comic subjects have to be universal. Do you agree with all that? And are there other comic truths you could tell us?
I don't know if I agree with any of them, except I really do think you can't teach somebody to be funny. That's the only thing I really do believe. You can teach somebody to be more funny or funnier, but I don't think you can teach sense of humor.
Damn.
Too bad for Caroline.
Yeah.
But
Not really.
But she's funny, though.
She's already funny.
Yes, she is.
She just doesn't know it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan, Louisa, Michael, have you ever performed stand-up?
No.
I haven't.
I have.
Oh.
I was just telling Michael and Louisa this just before we walked into the
Jonathan
recording
speaking.
studio in college. I had a very traumatic stint as an amateur stand-up comedian in some professional venues. And it was really fascinating. I don't regret it at all. It taught me a great deal, namely that I'm not a good stand-up comedian, but that the challenge of it was really worthwhile. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite Kurt Vonnegut quotes. He says that in artistic expression, the name of the game is to jump off the cliff and develop your wings on the way down. And that's what it was like up there. Boy, I mean, it's hard to develop wings anywhere, much less on a stage in front of a drunken, hostile crowd. It was great fun, though. It hurt in all the right ways, but it was. I'm really glad I did it.
Louisa, why do you think Patricia has Caroline say, real life is why jokes exist?
Because real life is hilarious. The end. I could elaborate, but why? It just is.
I was thinking maybe also because it can be really kind of rotten.
Yeah, totally. Real life is all that stuff. And if we can't laugh at it, what good is it living it?
Yeah. Jonathan, you just mentioned that stand-up comedy was hard for you. Patricia, do you think there's a common personality profile of a good stand-up?
Yes, a little bit. I mean, I think you have to have a great need to make people laugh and a great need to get that sort of reassurance from the audience. And it kind of has to be addictive in some way. I've only done stand-up. I took a class a million years ago. I was also awful. But it really made me appreciate the courage and also the sort of messed upness I think it takes for a lot of stand-ups because it's really lonely. That's the biggest thing. That's why I liked improv, because you're not alone. But stand-up is like, wow, it's just you. But it's also the benefit of just you. If you make them laugh, it was all you. If you bomb, it's all you.
Michael,
Yes.
you're so wonderfully responsive. Guy is still pretty young in Patricia's play, but he seems on the verge of getting bitter, possibly, in terms of his career. How dangerous a place is bitter in the performing racket?
So funny that you should ask me that question. I tell everyone to just lean into the bitterness. I was bitter. No, I don't. I think it is extremely, extremely dangerous and that it can actually be really insidious. I mean, on the one hand, I think a certain amount of it is very human. And so I think to call it dangerous is in a way to make it too potent. You know what I mean? I think a certain amount of it is just like a human thing that we all go through. There's a lot of disappointment in what we do, and resentments are going to come up, competitive things are going to come up. But you want to be careful, I think, of not hanging on to those things and living in those spaces for too long.
I know, it can get toxic.
Yeah. I don't know, that's what everyone around me says.
It's worse, the stuff you can't hear.
Louisa, you have the challenge of being funny as a character that's not. How did you think your way through that?
I don't think I really thought about it. I just was thinking about trying to be truthful with what's written and, resonate what's written. I feel like if you overthink stuff, it can really get in the way of, honest performance. Like
It can really help, and we can re-record now if you like.
Oh,
we can go back.
Exactly. That's why I'm so grateful always for you guys, the writer, and when you have a writer and director in the room, it's so great because they can impart all this knowledge onto you, and then you can take it, and we got to do it a billion times. Well, not a billion, but...
Jonathan's been trying to work with us to get us more in our heads.
No, the more stilted, the more academic. Yeah.
The more he's got a lovely self-conscious quality to all of his work.
Sure. I look for that. Self-awareness is very funny.
Okay, this is for all of you. In Patricia's play, Guy says to Caroline, everybody likes it when girls talk about sex. And so much of stand-up is about sex. I mean, how much do any of you think the current Me Too movement is making comics think twice about how they present women in their monologues?
I bet it makes them some pretty self-conscious. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to look at. I think would be a terrible thing if you're just not speaking honestly and censoring everything. I mean, I'm sure we've all been to things where it's like, wow, you're really going to make a rape joke. Oh, wow. Oh, that's never going to be funny to me. But if it gets people to really sort of think about, is it funny just because it's shocking or because nobody said it before? I mean, years ago, I taught at the Groundlings too, and people would say these sort of in class, these terrible things. And it's like, you realize that people don't do that on stage because it's not funny, not because they didn't think of it yet. Like, you're not groundbreaking by saying this really terrible, kind of damaging thing. So I just think if you're aware and you're honest, that's interesting. But just like saying, oh, I guess I can't say that because people get mad at me, or I don't want to, that's not right either. So
I was just going to ask you another question about in comedy clubs. I mean, there's four-letter words every other word. And, of course, none of that would ever make it onto public radio, for example. But what do you make of the importance of that to comedians? Can people be funny and squeaky clean as you were today?
I mean, for sure, I think Jerry Seinfeld is hilarious. And I don't know what he does when he's in a comedy club, but I think sometimes it depends on the comedian and their rhythm and what they're using language for. Probably for some of them, their act would really suffer. It'd be impossible. But I also think that it's a challenge as a writer, forget even writing comedy, to say, okay, why am I using just that word to do so many things, so much heavy lifting? Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting to find other words. And this was an easier one to remove than others would be.
It clearly depends. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, did you name Louisa's character Caroline in tribute to the comedy club Caroline's on Broadway?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
It occurred to me.
And Guy just got plain old Guy.
I know.
He's the guy.
The guy.
Anyway.
Oh, that changes everything. I do want to re-record now. I didn't do a sufficient amount of research. Sorry.
I need to go back.
Oh, you're the only one who noticed.
Good going,
Good
Claudia. Very impressive.
A little obsessed with detail, maybe. Anyway, it was a total delight having you all. Our playwright, Patricia Cotter, director, Jonathan Bernstein, and, of course, Louisa Krause and Michael Esper. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So fun.
You've been listening to Playing on Air, great American short plays with great American actors. Theme and play music by Tom Cochan. Recording and sound design by John Kilgore. Julia Melfi, audio editing. Associate producer, Michelle O'Brien. Literary and development management, Bonnie Antosh. Distributed by PRX, Public Radio Exchange. We invite you to visit our website at playingonair.org, where you can stream short plays and find information about our artists and plays. Join us on Facebook or Twitter, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. While you're there, leave us a review. We value your opinion. For Playing on Air, I'm your host, Claudia Catania. Thanks for listening.